everyone, hopefully having a great day or evening, and this screencast is on data. It's on five different types, but three main ones, which is discrete, continuous, and primary. But we are going to have a little quick look at quantitative and qualitative data as well. So the different types of data, we've got them all here. We are going to go through them individually, but it's very important that you write all these down. We're going to make lots of notes on them, and it is pure memory, this part of the course. So you just need to memorize what each one is, the sort of a quote of each one or a definition of each one, so that you can use them throughout. But we are going to go through the main three for a start. So discrete. This is data that can only take certain values. For example, the number of students in class. You can't have half a student. So number of sheep in a field. I'm a New Zealander. There's lots of sheep. We might say the number of players on a rugby pitch. So things like that we can count. So kids in class, sheep in a field, happy days. Continuous data is a little bit different. We're looking at, we have a range. Okay, data can take any value within a range. People's heights, people's weights, could be any value within a range of human heights, not just certain fixed heights. So you could, arguably, this is where the water gets a little bit muddied. A survey could go out and say, are you between these types of heights? But if you were to measure someone, then that would be continuous. So if we count, normally it's discrete, and if we measure, it's continuous. So how long does it take you to get somewhere? Well, that would be continuous data because we're measuring it using time. Shoe sizes are another really good example. So, lengths, widths, shoe sizes, that type of thing, where you are measuring someone's feet. They're always not in discrete elements. So we've got our quantitative data. This is where it gets a little bit more difficult. This is when we collect the data coming through. But quantitative data are measures and values or counts and are expressed as numbers. Quantitative data are data about numerical values, how many, how much, how often. So it's not just purely, is it discrete? Is it continuous? These are new forms of collecting that data. Collected data can be statistically analysed, example, heights, weights, time, price, temperatures, etc. So that is a type of data as well. Qualitative data, on the other hand, qualitative data is defined as the data that approximates and characterizes. Qualitative data can be observed and recorded. This type of data is non-numerical in nature. This type of data is collected through methods of observations, one-to-one interviews, conducting focus groups, and similar methods. That comes from questionpro.com. Collected data can just be observed and not evaluated. Examples are appearance, beauty. We might even think about smells. So whether people like things or not is normally qualitative data. And the real last main one we're going to think about and use a lot is primary data. So primary data is the collection of this data by researchers from first-hand sources, using methods like surveys, interviews, or experiments. It is collected with research project in mind directly from primary sources, so right from the source of someone that is impacted by it. So on the whole, we've got this discrete data, which is can you count it? We've got our continuous data, do you measure it? And we've got this primary data, which is between the fact that we're going to a source, we're asking the questions, and we're bringing that information back in. And lots of these things can overlap, and that's the important thing to remember. Some of these things will overlap. So some of it will be, you'll get your discrete data collected in a primary way, but is it qualitative or quantitative? So that is another question in itself. All a little bit interesting, might be a little bit difficult for you, but the main ones to remember are continuous, discrete, and primary, because that's what we use a lot up to GCSE maths. Here are some examples. So how tall is your house? So do you measure it? Do you count it? we measure how tall it is, so that means it's continuous data. What about how many people are in your maths class? How many are there? Do you have 3.5? So therefore it's discrete data, isn't it? We can count them. How long did it take you to get to school yesterday? So are we measuring that or are we counting it? Now, arguably, that becomes different. You are counting in seconds, but it's a form of measure, so it's continuous, isn't it? It falls within a scale, okay? Now, if you had to choose between, did it take you 1 minute, 2 minutes, that's a different story, but we're talking about measuring how long it took. So here are some examples, more examples. How much does Mr. Warren weigh? Be kind, everyone. Be very kind. But that is a measure, isn't it? We're not counting, measuring, so it's continuous. How many people play sport in your school? You're counting them, aren't you? So therefore it's discrete. And last but not least, data collected from a survey is called what form of data? It's primary data, isn't it? So there we go. It's time for the quiz, believe it or not. Hopefully you get all of these correct. All you need to do is pause the video, write these down, put down whether it's discrete, continuous, primary, quantitative, qualitative, and come back and see if you've got it correct. A little top tip, we're only working on those first 3 for these quiz questions to try and make it nice and easy for you. Come back and see if you've got it spot on. Okay, so now it's time to reveal the answers. So, the area of a square is continuous. The stack of coins is discrete because you'd obviously have a certain number of coins. The number of apples in a bag is discrete also because, hopefully you're not going to get half an apple. The distance to New Zealand, yes, go New Zealand, is continuous. And that is us done. I know that was a little bit tricky, but the main thing is just to copy out those definitions and memorize them. It is all about memory, and that's what you need to do now. I say take 3 questions from this video, but really just write down those key elements to it, the 5 key elements, the definitions that go with, and that would be enough for this screencast. As always, it's been a pleasure helping you with your maths today. I'm sure you've got a little bit better. Hopefully you haven't gone away too confused. Until next time, bye-bye.